We got to continue to expose these ridiculous partisan witch hunts. And I know the leftist media hates that term. They hate when Donald Trump says that, when he calls it a witch hunt. They were outraged through the 2018 to 2020 period when Donald Trump would call the whole Russia collusion nonsense a clearly politically motivated witch hunt. It turned out, though, that he was right. Now the question is he right in this case? The media will tell you, no, of course not. He's facing legitimate prosecution, not political persecution. That's what they tell you. But keep in mind, those are the same dishonest losers who lied endlessly in the past and were wrong about pretty much everything. Well, apparently, we're supposed to simply take their word for it and ignore anything that Donald Trump says, automatically writing it off as a lie. I'm just not seeing it, folks, and I'll tell you my perspective. It seems as though Latisha James's civil trial is finished. Let's take a look at the wrap-up. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, the New York civil case against the Trump Organization has wrapped up, and boy, the final claim made by New York Attorney General Latisha James. Whoa, it's some real scathing stuff. This is real, by the way. You'd expect a tweet like this more from a parody account, but no, this is legitimately Latisha James. She first starts off with the whole Mar-a-Lago thing. We've already covered that before. Her assertion is that the appraised value of Mar-a-Lago is $25 million. There's literally small plots of land in that area for the same price, but okay. But then she continues with, they regularly and intentionally pretended that legal restrictions on properties didn't exist to inflate these values. Take the 12 apartments on Park Avenue that they pretended were not rent stabilized. Park Avenue trumps value roughly $50 million. The true value, according to Latisha James, is $739,000. What am I looking at? What am I reading? This is the case, folks. Now, I'm not exactly sure what building they're talking about here, but I'm assuming it's the building that Donald Trump owns on Park Avenue, which is Trump Park Avenue, 502 Park Avenue, which is located on the Upper East Side between 59th Street and 60th Street. This is probably one of the most prestigious places to live in New York City. Do a quick little Zillow search, and this is what you'll find. 4,000 square foot condos in that area, so let's call them comps, running from $27 million to $35 million each. Now, obviously, it's not a perfect comparison because supposedly these 12 units were rent stabilized. But in what universe, even if rent stabilized, would the property be appraised at $60,000 a unit? We're talking about 12 apartments on Park Avenue in New York City. The value of that real estate is incredibly high. None of this makes sense. None of Latisha James's claims ever really made sense. I mean, just the thought off the top of my head, if that's the case, that those 12 units are only worth a little less than 800 grand, then the state of New York and New York City theoretically should owe the Trump Organization a good chunk of change in property taxes that he clearly overpaid. This is Latisha James's big case. I've never seen anything so ridiculous. I've never seen such a grifter in my life. Her Twitter account gives me the creeps, man. It's full on narcissism on full display. But most importantly, it's Trump obsession. Donald Trump made some statements after the trial ended. A little bit of a long clip. I'll try to cut it down, but it's worth listening to because it's relevant.
She's a political hack, the Attorney General. The judge is obviously extremely friendly with the group, and we'll see what happens. I think maybe he may surprise people on a positive side. We'll have to see what happens exactly. But we've proven this case so conclusively. We've asked for directed verdict many times. They don't have any facts. They don't have any evidence against us. Millions and millions of pages, years of litigation, and all politically motivated. She campaigned on a "I will get Trump." If you've ever seen any of her clips, they're horrible clips, actually. The anger, she's got serious Trump derangement syndrome. There's no question about Latisha James, the corrupt Attorney General of New York. So we've proven our case. There's not one witness against us other than one person who is a deranged. He's got a lot of problems. He's a man who's been convicted of lying. He's a felon, convicted felon, and not a good person. But that's their only witness, and he's now crashed and burned. They have no witnesses. And by the way, that witness took back everything that he said. He took back everything he said in court, took it all back. Think of it, not one witness, millions of pages of document, years of this nonsense, and now it goes on. And one other factor, we won this case already in the Court of Appeals. The Court of Appeals voted in favor of us. But this judge has been very, very slow to accept that opinion because that's not the opinion that he wants. But we won in the Court of Appeals. That's the boss of this judge who has to know that. That's the story, and I thought we'd come down to 40 Wall Street, which is a great building, and you'd get a chance to see one of the nicest buildings in New York and a convenient place, and I don't have to pay any rent because we have it, and it's been a very successful building. But it's a shame to have gone through this for years and years and years, and now we'll see if we're going to get an honest verdict. We didn't have a jury. We had no rights to a jury. It's a statute that's never been used before for a purpose like this. I just watched a certain broadcast, and they said, they've been looking, has it ever been used before? This is a statute that's a consumer fraud statute, never been used for anything like this before, and it's a shame. It's really it's a witch hunt in the truest sense of the word. It's election interference. And it just came out, this was just right now, Latisha James visited Joe Biden in the White House numerous times during the Trump witch hunt. And this just came out about 10 minutes ago, I got it. And so it's all a conspiracy to try and get Biden, who can't put two sentences together, trying to get him into office. So I just want to let you know that we have our best poll numbers, we have the best everything, despite this, and maybe because of this, because the people of the United States, all of those people back there, but the people of the United States really get it. They get it better than anybody else. Yeah, please.
And once again, whose word are we taking? The lying fake news media hacks and hacks like Latisha James or Donald Trump, who's been proven right time and time again on these exact issues. And once again, he is right. Latisha James is Trump obsessed. It's unreal. I've never seen anything like it. Just scroll through her Twitter. It's crazy. All she ever does is tweet about Donald Trump. Trump this, Trump that, Trump, 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 Trump. Non-stop Trump. I mean, this woman wants you to believe that this property right over here, it's a freaking beachfront castle. It's a freaking compound. It's a friggin' castle. But Latisha James wants you to believe that that property is worth $25 million. Latisha James legitimately wants you to believe that this property is worth less than a 4,000 square foot condo on Park Avenue in New York City. Make it make sense. Of course it can, because it obviously doesn't. It makes absolutely no sense. The claims are ridiculous, and this case would have never happened if Donald Trump wasn't running for president in 2024. And it's really clear from all these mask-off moments that we see from his leftoids on Twitter. Here's a great example. Bought and paid for Democrat Gen Z shill Victor She writes, "Hey, MSNBC and CNN, why are you airing Donald Trump's press conference right now? You are giving him free airtime to lie without any fact checks whatsoever. Stop treating him like a normal presidential candidate and giving him a national platform to misinform and lie. Stop treating him like a normal presidential candidate. Yeah, of course, suppress your opponents. Don't allow them to defend themselves. No, of course not. The only person who's allowed to lie and misinform is apparently Latisha James and the rest of these left-wing corporate hacks. The only thing's an absolute farce. There seems to be no merit to this case whatsoever. The claims are completely outrageous. But honestly, in the end, I don't think that's going to matter. I think regardless of the facts of this case, they've already made up their mind. Latisha James already pretty much said the quiet part out loud.
Before this trial even began, the judge ruled in our favor and found that Donald Trump did engage in years of significant financial fraud we uncovered.
And so, most likely, I think it's pretty likely that they're going to reach a verdict of guilty. They're going to claim that the Trump organization owes X amount of dollars. It's going to be this big thing. They're going to get their headline because at the end of the day, obviously, that's what this whole thing is about. It's an absolute disgrace. The judge has been horrible. Latisha James is honestly, I'm just going to say it, probably one of the worst human beings I've ever observed. But I guess it's yet again another day experiencing the Democrat definition of democracy.